The Coreway is much bigger than we thought. The Titan's greatest secret. So, this is from Doran talking about the Coreway, which is that big opening in Khazalgar, right, where we fly into it and you can get to the other areas of the other underground. You head into the Ringing Deeps first, right? What is that big opening? Is it supposed to be open? Is it Azeroth's anus? We don't know, but we do know that we fly through it every single day. Evidently, Doran knows what its true purpose is, so let's see what he has to say.
So you all gone through the Coreway and you might have not too much about it. However, you realize that we have a gigantic elevator leading directly into the World Soul. We have the strictest possible Titan edicts placed on the Titan servers here with a ton of fail-safe mechanisms with a giant robot, meaning that this is a place of utmost significance. Recently, we learned that the Titans created a system called the Manifold all over Azeroth in order to observe the World Soul. This elevator is literally large enough for a Titan avatar to come through, so could this be an elevator built for the Titans themselves? It's almost...
Maybe. I didn't think about that in terms of size. Yes, it is quite large, so maybe it was built to take something large into the Coreway.
Certainly built around the hole where Eluna here, the first World Tree on Azeroth, was, but some have even speculated that this might be the place where Azeroth was supposed to awaken as the new Titan. So what exactly is this Coreway, and is this literally the most important Titan facility on Azeroth? If you guys want to buy Total War, Elder Scrolls, or any other game, you can get them at great prices with my Gamivo link. You can also get anything warcraft related, gift cards and software, and all below market prices. Best of all, if you add my code DORAN, you can get an even bigger discount, so make sure to check out my link in the description and get some amazing deals with Gamivo. If you've been following the lore for a while, or at least since Frat, you might remember Titan facilities that we see in pretty much every expansion or every other expansion. Have you noticed something really interesting about them? They always served multiple purposes. The general, relatively well-known purpose and the hidden one that we've later found out. For example, Ulduar was obviously the seat of the Titan Keepers, and we saw them there, but at the same time, they had a whole old god chained up under the place. The Forge of Origination...
Yeah, it seems like most of the Titan facilities are either for destruction of the planet, monitoring of the planet, or you know, holding of an old god or something like that. Like, those have been the main purposes of them. Now, we're going to learn more about them, as Chris Metzen said at BlizzCon. We're going to find out while these Titan facilities are slapped into the side of the planet. Yeah, we're going to definitely go deeper into these. And we know that we're going back to Northrend at some point in the World Soul Saga. So, of course, I think we're going back to Ulduar and all that stuff. We're going to go deeper into what all those facilities are about. But, yes, I know a lot of this stuff has been revealed through the quests. You know, I got to get around to doing them, of course. But it's interesting to think about what these facilities are for and why the Titans are so interested in Azeroth and building so many.
In Oldham is even more interesting because it was like this place to regulate the rhythms of the World Soul, but on the other hand, it was literally the most destructive machinery ever on Azeroth, meant to wipe out the entire planet. Now, if you followed my recent video...
not necessarily wipe out the entire planet, but wipe the planet's surface clean. So it's supposed to, like, re-originate the planet, essentially. Not kill Azeroth's World Soul, but wipe everything off of its surface completely.
You might have seen a huge piece of brand new lore that not a lot of people are actually talking about for some reason. In the second weekly archives quest, we have gotten more lore on the Titan reign over Azeroth. We've learned that the Titans had ordered the Keepers to build them a whole set of installations all over Azeroth in order to observe and learn more about the World Soul. They had named this place the Manifold. Even more interestingly, we got a globe model of Azeroth showing 7 dots, 3 in Northrend, 3 on Kalimdor, and 1 in the eastern.
We talked about this, and one of these dots is in a very interesting spot, Dire Maul, right? There's a dot freaking right on Dire Maul. You can see it there. It's interesting because that was an ancient elven city, right? Quel'Danas, I forgot what it's called, but basically that's where they had all their magic shit. I mean, it's a big arcane way line, and I hope we eventually get to see what Dire Maul used to look like before it fell apart. Because that city was glorious.
When this was built, Azeroth was one singular continent, so this wasn't built on the current layout. However, it is really interesting that just 7 Titan facilities, so not all of them, are a part of this mechanism. For example, Ulduar and the Forge of Originations have yet another hidden purpose. However, we also got information on potentially yet another unexplored Titan facilities like Baal Modan and Dire Maul. Now, here's the thing, we have another Titan facility that we've discovered on Kazlagar called the Coreway, and by this lore, this should literally be the Manifold, yet this place was not actually dotted on the globe map. It's really interesting that we have such a massive, important Titan facility that literally everyone has seen that has played in the War Within, yet not many people have actually thought twice about how large this actually is. Do you notice that we have a gigantic hole in the ground filled with a lot of
One thing that I thought about the hole is, you know, there's all these roots and everything. I thought the hole was there because that's where Aman'Thul pulled the World Tree out, right? Remember, there's the whole story. He pulls the World Tree out, or one of the first original World Tree, rips it out of the ground, and obviously that would leave a hole behind. That's what I thought. That's what, I don't know if he says that in his story, but that's why I thought there's originally a giant hole in the ground. And there's a bunch of roots underneath still there, right? So that made sense to me. Could it be that Aman'Thul just, you know, put the tip in Azeroth? Maybe that's what made the hole. Who knows?
Titan forged. It was strongly hinted by Blizzard that this place leads to the actual core of the world, hence the name Coreway, yet we don't know much about it. Somehow I feel like this place is connected to the Manifold. It might not be on the map, but this might be why all the other Titan facilities exist. Let's just real quickly examine a few interesting hints about the Coreway. First, the name. It literally says that it leads to the core of Azeroth, Coreway. Now, people have noticed that it ends around Hellfall, but this is not actually the end of the Coreway, it was just clogged up. It's very likely that this gigantic elevator is leading into the chamber of the World's Soul that we might explore, but it's clogged up and very likely to clear that up and fix it by the end of the expansion. However, we got 2 more things. First is that there is a gigantic Titan Forge expedition around, and so far this seems to be the strictest expedition we had ever seen. The Titans really wanted to make sure that these guys stick to the edicts to the letter. The second thing is that
they did. I mean, and if you remember the beginning of the expansion, they literally sent a giant, I don't know what you call this, some kind of Titan guard to kill the Earthen because they had decided to deviate from their original purpose, right? I mean, that's not the first time the old gods would get, the Titans would get pissed off about somebody not just following their orders, of course, but it was interesting to see how angry they got about this. And that means, I would say, that the Earthen's purpose around this Coreway is very important to the Titans.
this space is really large, as if it is supposed to fit multiple Titan
the tree was to the
keepers
left
on
of
this
Kaz,
giant
maybe.
elevator, or potentially even a whole legit Titan avatar that may want to descend all the way down to the Azeroth's World Soul. First of all, let's discuss that the Titans decided to go super strict around the Coreway. Have you noticed these incredibly strict edicts? And second, they went seriously out of their way to make sure these guys don't get free will, and they built a gigantic robot that they had planted in the ocean just in case these guys decide to rebel in the slightest. It means that this was a significant...
It means their purpose was pretty damn important to the Titans.
Titan operation, and they had to make sure it doesn't go bad. So far, we have never observed such a failsafe against Titan Forged independence against their own rebellion. I'm not saying it didn't exist, but we haven't personally seen it. So what exactly is this place, and why is it so important? As I just stated, I think...
Nazar, yes, they are. You're talking about the Titan-style dwarves. I don't know if they would be considered earthen, but they're definitely, you know, the same as earthen in that they're just Titan creations. I mean, all dwarves technically are. The dwarves that we've always had on the Alliance were just earthen or dwarves, you know, just Curse of Flesh dwarves, basically. So yeah, they are the same, most definitely. They're of the same creation. I don't know if they're created via the same mechanism that earthen were, but they're certainly the same in that they're just Titan dwarves that are created to basically run a Titan facility.
It's incredibly interesting that
they're
we just learned about this Manifold, a set of 7 Titan facilities meant to help the Titans observe the World Soul in person. Remember, the dialogue said...
Yeah, so maybe those guys, when they got the Curse of Flesh, they became the Dark Iron Dwarves. separately from what an earthen would have looked like, which is a regular dwarf. That could be it. Maybe we just made a connection I didn't even know about.
And that the keepers built this for the Titans, not for
But they are
themselves,
the same,
meaning that
basically.
the Titans personally wanted to learn more about Azeroth. As we learn this, we have a gigantic elevator leading into the core of the world. I don't know about you, but to me, this seems to be highly connected. Of course, a whole Titan couldn't come down to Azeroth in their true Sargeras-sized shape, which is why they even built the Titan Keepers in the first place, but we have seen the Titan avatars in person when Sargeras was in prison back at the end of Legion. They could very easily go down the Coreway, meaning this might literally be the Titan elevator. However, the most interesting fact is that I don't think they actually dug out this hole, but that this machinery was built over a hole. So you probably heard about the Aluna here by this point. I've mentioned it dozens of times, but it is as good as confirmed that Khazlagar is where the first ever world...
See, I was right. I did think it was the World Tree. I think it is. I think it was where Aluna here was before Aman'Thul ripped it out.
Tree on Azeroth was planted by Elune and Eonar. It was ripped out by Aman'Thul, and so far we have dozens of hints of evidence proving this. First of all, we got a gigantic hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Second, we got a ton of roots in the lowest most layer.
Right,
we got these troll druids living there. We got a giant lake or a sea. All this was confirmed in the document from Dragonflight. It was said that Eonar cried, created a pond, and that unknown guardians came in to protect the roots. Now, this happened during the initial Titan invasion, and it was said that Eonar wanted to create life and weed out the corruption through this, and Elune persuaded her. Seeing that this is likely a passage into the World Soul, it's likely that the first World Tree was planted literally into the World Soul. This is
the theory I think is true.
We've recently learned that every cosmological force wants to convert Azeroth, which is in fact a neutral prime World Soul.
Well, this is an interesting map when you look at it right now. The roots, right? Look at the roots of this world tree here for life. Look at how it's kind of got disorder and shadow connected here through the bones and the snake eating its own tail. Interesting, signage here. And the roots are very important right now because even though the tree was ripped out, the roots were still there. And we even know the old god whisper of N'Zoth, deeper its roots will grow. You know, he remember that? So the roots are certainly going to be important. There's hints at a Rootlands patch coming soon. That's all about the Harnir and everything they're going to do. So, yeah, we're definitely going to get deeper into what the hell these roots are, what they belong to, and what their purpose still is.
Neutral prime world soul, as they call it. All hints so far say that it can be pumped up by whatever magic gets to it. So it's likely that life was converting it, and that is why Aman'Thul ripped it out, because they want to turn it into a Titan, not into a life Titan. Then the fissure called Sector AR938 is what ultimately turned into Khazlagar that we can see today. The Titans sent a giant earthen expedition, very likely to build this Coreway, so I'm guessing they used the fissure created from Aman'Thul ripping out the World Tree. They mended the wound, they built a gigantic elevator in its place, and something crazy must be going down there below. We still can't see, of course, but personally I'm just not buying the Titan propaganda that they built this entire Manifold just out of curiosity reasons to learn more about the World Soul. I think there must be something much bigger at stake here, especially with the Titan prison over Azeroth hints and this very popular theory. Furthermore, people have speculated that this Coreway is actually a place where Azeroth is supposed to awaken, which could potentially explain the size of this elevator. It definitely makes sense. I mean, I've talked about what happens when Azeroth does awaken. It's likely an avatar is created and the planet is not in fact destroyed.
Yeah, I guess if you consider that Azeroth would be the same size as Argus was and stuff, yeah, that could be could fit her through there. Although I do imagine Azeroth being so much bigger, but maybe I should imagine her being this size because that's the size every single what is it called, like World Soul manifest has looked like so far. We've seen it with Argus and obviously the Titans, who are not World Souls manifested, but they are beings that are a size that would fit through there.
Obviously has to come out of somewhere. This place is leading into the core of the planet from where Azeroth might awaken from as a Titan. According to the Titan plan, it would make sense that this is why they decided to so strictly guard this facility and why it is so important. The other manifold mechanism all over Azeroth might just be a part of this process as well, as manifold could mean a pipe with several openings. Maybe the idea was for Azeroth's essence to come out of multiple of these facilities and to unite outside of the planet. Of course, a bit of wild speculation, but think about how large, intricate the Coreway really is, and it's apparently the only place we've seen thus far where we might actually reach the World Soul from. Something big is definitely going on, and aside from the Titan Keeper seat Ulduar, the Coreway may potentially be the most important Titan facility on Azeroth. Thank you for watching. Check out the new island we're going to get to in 11.0 by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on Perun and Slavic mythology by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
His final statement about it being the most important Titan facility in all of Azeroth, probably true, but I do think that we're going to see some hyper importance given to some other facilities. We talked about the dots on that map in the video there. Those are obviously very important. Obviously, Northrend's going to become very important going forward. We already know that it's going to be relevant for some reason, and I would say that reason is the Titan facilities up there. So, a lot to be revealed, so to say. But as of right now, I think I subscribe to the idea that the giant Coreway is in fact the leftovers from Alunahir being ripped out of the planet.